Good morning. Welcome to First Universalist Society in Franklin. I'm Evelyn Rossing. My pronouns are she, her. I am a member of the worship committee, and I am glad that we're together. As we gather this morning, I hope you find solace and rest, rejuvenation and connection, a moment of peace, and the strength to carry on. Wherever you have been this week, whether your heart is light or heavy, whoever you are, whoever you love, be present and welcome. If you are visiting with us this morning, we're especially glad you're here. Please take a moment to sign our guest book in the foyer or our virtual guest book online. You'll find the link in the chat. Please gather after service for snacks and coffee in the Fellowship Cafe or stay and chat a while on Zoom. If you would enjoy a quieter place to socialize, look for the quiet room down the hall in the religious education wing. And now let us join our hearts and minds together as we gather for worship.
Good morning. My name is Rev Bev. I have the privilege of being interim minister here in Franklin. It's so nice to see you all here, and those of you on Zoom, welcome also. What a great Sunday you have chosen to join us. Coming of age is such a special and inspirational celebration in our Unitarian Universalist tradition. My call to worship this morning is adapted from the words of William Ellery Channing. The great end in religion instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own. Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own. Not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth. The great end in religious instruction is to awaken a soul to excite and treasure spiritual life. The hymns this morning were chosen by the youth that will be speaking with you a little later, and the first one is number 347 in the gray hymnal, Gather the Spirit. I invite you to rise as you are able.
Each Sunday morning, we share a centering ritual with Unitarian Universalists around the world, the lighting of a chalice. Today, I invite our religious education children and youth to come up and sing Rise Up, O Flame 2 times like we do in RE classes. While they sing, Rev Bev will light the chalice.
We didn't warn them ahead of time.
Good job, you look perfect. Great, ready? Rise up, O flame, high thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, high thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Yep. Please remain seated and join us in singing the Union Affirmation, which can be found inside the front cover of the hymnal. Good morning. My name is Sarah Allegretti. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm honored to be your Director of Religious Education. And next time I will warn you before you sing. I'm very sorry about that. I really should have warned you first. You all did an amazing job, though. Yeah. In many Unitarian Universalist congregations, when youth are in 8th, 9th, or 10th grade, they are invited to participate in a coming-of-age program. This program symbolizes the final chapter of being a child in the congregation, a child who attends RE classes, and it represents moving towards being a part of the congregation as an adult. Max, Lexi, Levi, Lily, and Luca are coming of age today. Can you stand up from where you are and give us a wave? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There they all are. Yay! Thank you. You can sit down. Since January, we have been meeting and learning and planning together, but these past few months are not the only part of the coming of age process. All of our children here, a lot in the front row, have begun their coming of age experience already. They are each learning and growing every time we meet here together. Every RE class and FUSF event they attend is a support towards this important transition. Throughout your time at FUSF, there have been many people who have had an impact on our teens who are coming of age today. Let's recognize some of these people. So I'm going to ask that when you hear something that you have done with one of the teens who is coming of age today, so Max, Lexi, Levi, Lily, or Luca. So if you've done one of these things with them, I ask that you either stand up or raise your hand, or both if you're very enthusiastic. All right, so if you are a coming of age mentor to one of our teens, please stand up. There we go. And you can stay standing, okay? Sorry. If you are a family member of one of these teens, please stand or raise your hand, and you may remain standing. If you have ever been an RE teacher or a youth group advisor for any of these teens, please stand up. Or raise your hand. If you have ever attended an RE class or Chalice Camp with them, please stand up. An RE class, that's all of you. Jolene, you too. Yeah, Kai, you can stand up too if you want, as you've been in classes with them too. If you have ever attended Ferry Beach with them, please stand up or raise your hand. If you have ever volunteered with them, please stand up or raise your hand. If you have ever had a conversation with them, please stand up or raise your hand. Finally, if you have ever heard any of these teens participate in a worship service, such as by lighting a chalice, singing, or playing music, which 2 of them did this morning, please stand up or raise your hand. Coming of age takes a community, and we've all been a part of it. You may sit down. Our young people are so lucky to have so many people in their lives who are rooting for them and caring for them and helping them come of age in community. Thank you for being those people. And I don't say the normal thing that I normally say now. So I can just sit down. Okay, bye.
Please join me in a time of prayer and meditation. Here we are together, watching our youth come of age. As we celebrate this important milestone, we have some dreams and some wishes for all of our children, but especially for our coming of agers today. We wish for you a storm or two that you may more fully enjoy the calm. We wish for you clear-headedness in times of tension and passion as that tension drives you to action. We wish you darkness that you may see the stars. We wish you a sense of wonder and poetry and music and whatever it is that makes your heart sing. We wish you a friend who will understand you and understanding so that you may be a friend. And we wish you the vision and courage so that you become all that you wish to be, and the boldness and tenacity that you become more than you hope you can be. And we wish you someone to love as we love you. So may it be, and amen.
When the waters are deep, friends carry me over. When I cry in my sleep, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tends me on my journey, love call me home. When the waters are cold, friends carry me over. When I'm losing my hope, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tends me on my journey, love call me home. When I'm weary and cannot swim, friends carry me over. Open your arms and take me in, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tends me on my journey, love call me home. Take the gift that I bring, friends carry me over. Deep within me life is saying, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tends me on my journey, love call me home. Love call me home.
Oh, go ahead. For the visitors here today, there is an ongoing conversation about whether applause during worship is the right thing to do or not. Because worship is worship, and performance is performance. But sometimes, even I break my own rules.
I'm reading a poem from this book called Coming of Age. The poem is called Passage, and it's adapted I adapted it, but it's by Edward Searle. Young person, life turns for you. This is a magic time, a mythic passage in your becoming. We who welcome you, none of us is too old so as to have forgotten the mystery of not knowing, the delight of first discovery, the impatience to hurry what will come next, the terrible wonderfulness of the changes. Don't forget, we remember, and with memory and hope, we welcome you. Knowing what you may become is a bud bursting into a flower just now. To you, young person, we wish all the mystery, all the discovery, all the moments, all the changes that are yours. We can't give them, for they are yours to take.
As Sarah mentioned, in Unitarian Universalism, coming of age is an important ritual that marks one step on the path to spiritual growth and young adulthood for our this year 8th and 9th graders. Oh, and 10th. Okay. Throughout much of this year, the youth you are about to hear from have spent time with each other, with Sarah and myself, and with their mentors. They have explored Unitarian Universalism, our values, their own beliefs, and the connections between this faith and their actions in the world. They have been walking a path of self-discovery as they explore their religious identity as it is today as Unitarian Universalists. They have shared their thoughts, they've opened their hearts, they have grown deeper in faith. And they know that this is a beginning, a journey, and only a temporary destination, because they know that this growth and this learning evolves with time, with experience, with age. Speaking for myself, it has been a joy and a privilege to be a witness and a companion to these 5 amazing young people. They have worked hard preparing for today, and I'm going to ask all of you to do something really hard as well. I promise that you will have a chance to show your appreciation for each of these young people. The hard part is I'm going to ask you to hold your appreciative applause until after the 5th youth has spoken. And at that time, all 5 will be invited back up to receive your congratulations, your applause, your admiration. I promise. And I'm going to be watching. So, our first mentor and youth, I invite you to come up, Greg Lamb and Maxim Duffy.
Good morning. My name is Greg Lamb. My pronouns are he, him. I really enjoyed spending time with Maxim. He is a very creative young man. He loves classical music, played on the cello. He draws really well. It's amazing to see him draw. So glad I got to see him drawing in his book. His drawings of fish are straight out of some deep-sea monster drama. As someone who draws a lot, I want to encourage him to continue to hone his skills, his drawing skills. As his mentor, we discussed spirituality. Max has a strong attraction to those who give back to their communities. He also learned about the Louis D. Brown Institute and was attracted to the Peace Institute that fosters healing for the victims of crime. As Max's spiritual journey continues, I hope he continues on the path of spiritual growth. And with that, I introduce Maxim.
Hello. My name is Maxim Duffy. My pronouns are she, they, and this is my statement of religious identity. I find religion is hard to define. Many people view it as a set of beliefs. Some people seem to think religion is a belief in supernatural force. To me, I think religion might be a tool to help people hope, to help people have faith. In many major religions, for example, prayers help people dream, help them believe good things can happen. For Unitarian Universalists, the chalice can represent faith, reason, and hope. Even in atheism, simply the belief that there is no God can help to reassure people and give them hope, just knowing they can have control of their own life. A religious experience, for me rather, could be something such as sitting quietly. It gives me a chance to reflect, to take in what's happened, and to hope, as previously mentioned. It lets me think about my past, present, and future. I also enjoy drawing and playing music, as Greg mentioned, and find that these activities help me to reflect as well. I believe that any one person can be a source of both good and bad, and there is no one source of either. Everyone makes mistakes, and everyone has the ability to do good in some way. The nicest person in the world could still make a lapse in judgment, and the worst criminal could still have been nicer at one point. I feel that a lot of the impacts that we make come from ourselves or other people in our lives. Any one person can be a source of both good and bad, as I said. Religion is a tool to help people hope. They're still the ones hoping. And they have hope because they have control over their own life. All ideas like these point to one thing, that everything we do has an impact. And all of our impacts come from things people do. It is impossible to have no impact because everything you do has an impact, even the little things. If you help someone, they could go on to help you again later. If you give power to the wrong people, they could use it against you. But if you give it to the right people, they could use that power to help you. This is why I believe we should strive for a positive impact, because even little things can help tip the balance. Thank you for listening to me so far. These are all just my beliefs, all little puzzle pieces and parts of my religious identity. Some may change as I get older, but they are all part of who I am and how I think the world should work. Thank you, have a good day, and goodbye.
You'll be back, though, so don't go away. Sue Savoy and Lexi Cassay.
Good morning. My name is Sue Siobhan Savoy, and my pronouns are she, her. I had the pleasure of mentoring Lexi Cassay for her coming of age. This experience has been inspiring because Lexi embodies joy. She approached the process of self-discovery with a smile. Her enthusiasm is infectious. My sense of her is that she already has grounded herself in a deep wisdom around some of the big questions in life, as you're about to hear. It is my pleasure to invite Lexi Cassay to the pulpit.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lexi Cassay, and my pronouns are she, her. I have been a part of this congregation for my entire life, and every time I step into this wonderful building, I feel happiness and love. I have had so many memories in this place, and it blows my mind on how fast the time has gone by. For me, I grew up with this community by my side and have never felt unloved by them. My grandmother, Carol Rosine, was a minister here for many years, and I always loved watching her preach. However, I don't remember too much since I was pretty young, but what I do remember is how she always spoke with love. I really adored that, and not only her, but everyone else here. The community here is so special because they are accepting, loving, generous, and compassionate. This community feels safe and like a family to me. I feel at home not only here at FUSF, but also at Ferry Beach. I grew up growing there and went twice a year, every year. The years that I couldn't attend one of the 2 times, I felt like a big piece of the year was missing. It's hard to explain in words what Ferry Beach makes me feel, but the best word I can think of is home. Every time I have attended, never once have I ever felt judged or excluded. The people there are so friendly and welcoming, so you never feel out of place. I always look forward to Ferry Beach, because even though I haven't seen some of the people for a whole year, it still feels like we are all so close and connected. Additionally, being a UU has shaped my personality outside of these settings, and I have taken these beliefs and put them into my life. For example, I believe that people should have empathy for everyone, not just people they are close to. What I've seen UUs do is even if they don't know a person that well or haven't ever met them, they will still show acceptance. I have put these beliefs into my life by accepting people for who they are and showing empathy and love. I also think that people don't have to agree on everything and can have varying opinions, but still love and connect with each other. I put this into my life by listening to people and not judging, because it's okay to not have the same opinion on everything. And what I love about UUs is that no matter what your beliefs are, they will always treat you with love. In the future, I want to become a defense attorney, and my UU values have definitely guided me in knowing what I want to do. I want to peacefully fight for what's right and make an impact on the world during my lifetime. For me, I connect with all the UU shared values. However, the one I most resonate with is equity. The reason why I connect with equity the most is because that I believe everyone should be treated equally, no matter their race, gender, sexuality, class, etc. I believe that if everyone were to have more equity and compassion, the world would be a much better place. However, I think that not everyone is perfect, but people can grow, change, and make mistakes. You can mess up in life, but you can also grow from that and have new experiences. People are complicated, but we can all grow and guide each other through hard times, and being open and thoughtful with people is a big part of being a UU. Now, to answer the big question, what does it mean to be a UU? That's a tough question to answer. However, the main word I can think of is love. Our UU shared values are equity, transformation, interdependence, generosity, pluralism, and justice. But what do they all center around? Love. I think being a UU means accepting people's differences, being kind to each other, growing with each other, and helping one another, all in the way of love. Thank you.
And now Mark Minichelli and Lucas Ganson.
Good morning. My name is Mark Minichelli. My pronouns are he, him, his. Over the past few months, I've had the privilege and pleasure of mentoring Lucas Ganson for his coming of age. While being Lucas' mentor, I learned that he is a very busy person. Just finding time for us to meet was a challenge. In addition to being a strong academic student, Luca participates on track team, swim team, plays the clarinet, as you've heard earlier today, is active in Scouts, and somehow found time to help during the FUSF cleanup day last week. I'm sure you will enjoy learning more about him and who he is. It's my pleasure to invite Lucas Ganson to the pulpit.
Good morning. My name is Lucas Ganson. My pronouns are he, him, and I am a 9th grader here at FUSF. I have become the person I am because I have learned values from my parents, friends, schools, and the activities and sports I participate in, such as cross-country, swim team, and track. One value I have learned from these sports that I play is the importance of effort. I'm always impressed by the amount of effort my teammates and captains put in. For example, one of my captains during cross-country would get to school an hour before the school day started to go for a run in the morning in addition to his afternoon practice. This focus on hard work and effort has made me realize that there's no point in doing something halfway. If you're going to put in any effort on an assignment, in a sport, or in any aspect of your life, I think it's important to go all the way and put in your best effort. If you only try halfway, you'll get far too little out of it to justify the time and effort you put in. This is reflected in FUSF through our willingness to put words into action and volunteer in our community, despite this being more difficult. Another important value I believe in is the importance of education and knowledge. During school, we make mistakes and then learn from them, so we don't make the same mistakes again. If you don't learn basic math, you might struggle with doing bills or groceries. If you don't learn civics and history, you may struggle to comprehend the risks if one person gains too much power. Someone who hasn't taken a science class may not know how important it is to have evidence to justify a claim. I also believe it's important to never stop learning, even when you stop going to school, by listening and fact-checking information you hear from others, and by learning from your experiences and mistakes. I believe this connects to our Unitarian Universalist value of justice, as education is a human right not always realized, and it is our job to make sure this is fairly received by all people. A final value I believe is important is staying contemporary. I hope to stay up to date in the world. In this, I include the importance of knowing and embracing the newest technology, or reading the news frequently from a reliable source. I'd even include learning some of the new slang words our generation uses. That's pretty rizzy, no cap. However, I think the most important aspect of staying contemporary is staying engaged on the issues that face our day, even if they aren't the same as the issues that the world faced 20 years ago. I hope when I grow older, I don't forget this, and I make an effort to live in the present. This relates to our FUSF value of transformation, as we must adapt and transform to meet the world where it's at in the future. Beyond this, I think it's important for all of us to live in the present today and as we go through our lives. It's easy to get bogged down with something that happened in the past or worry too much about what the future will bring. I hope in my life I won't forget to pay attention to what is happening now around me. To me, being a Unitarian Universalist means living these and our other values. We should all work hard, learn, and be willing to adapt in our lives. In my opinion, one of the most important parts of being Unitarian Universalist is the ability to choose for yourself what you believe in and what values are important to you, so you can find a way to live these values in your lives. Through my time at FUSF, I have gained further knowledge of the importance of living a virtuous life. It makes me happy to see there are other people with similar values to myself who can work together with me to achieve a common goal. I've been able to see the values displayed at FUSF present in other areas of my life, such as in Boy Scouts and on the sports teams I have belonged to. I hope to continue to work towards these goals within my own life, my community, and society as a whole to better the lives of everyone around me. I'd like to thank the people who have helped me through the coming of age process. First, thank you to Mark for being my mentor and taking the time to help me write this, letting me get to know him and helping me to get to know myself better. Thank you to Sarah and Rev Bev for planning this service and running our meetings. Thank you to my family for driving me to my coming of age meetings, reading over my speech, and helping me practice. Finally, thank you for taking the time to come here today and listen.
And now Jake Jacobson and Levi Harder.
Good morning. My name is Jake Jacobson. My pronouns are he, him. I've had the great privilege of mentoring Levi for his coming of age this year. He's a thoughtful young man who cares about others. One thing you may have learned about him this morning is that he likes to play that most melodious of instruments, the electric bass. Something you may not know is that he runs cross-country for Tri-County, and he's also becoming a good pickleball player, hopefully if he keeps practicing. Anyway, it's my great pleasure to invite Levi Harder to the pulpit.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Levi Harder. My pronouns are he, him, and I've been coming to this congregation since around September of 2018, right around when Eric Cherry started leading our services. To be completely honest, the main reason why I wanted to keep coming was because of the food after service. And it probably helps that that Sunday was a Super Sunday. Soon after, I started going to religious education, where I had a lot of fun, especially since I already knew some of the kids from outside of church. Throughout my time in religious education, I've seen quite a few changes in who held the title of Director of Education, religious education. I've seen quite, at first it was Christine, and then it was Rachel, and then Diana, and now it is Sarah. Our congregation has also had a change in ministers after Eric Cherry left the church. And Rev Bev has been our current interim minister. And while this congregation has been through changes, the overall message, community, and values have not. To me, this is what makes our community so special. As Unitarian Universalists, we welcome all, regardless of spirituality, race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality. I've always found that I share the same values as Unitarian Universalists. I am someone who greatly values justice, especially social justice and climate justice. This is a big part of the reason why Unitarian Universalism is so perfect for me and my family. Another large part of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist is following the 7 values. Though this is a relatively new concept, and we used to have the 8 principles, I believe that we've been following these 7 values since the beginning of the religion, even if we didn't officially state them or have an amazing jet pig to remember them by. One of the most important of the 7 values to me is equity. I believe that everyone has different needs to achieve success. I'm a student who has a 504 plan at my school because of my ADHD. And though I don't use it much, it is important that I have it because it acts as a safety net if I don't have my medicine. At FUSF, people recognize each other's differences and even celebrate them. It makes me happy that I'm in a community that recognizes that people aren't the same, we are unique in our own ways, and everyone needs support in different ways. The idea of spirituality and concepts of God have never really resonated for me, and I consider myself an atheist. And honestly, this made writing a speech on religious identity particularly difficult. However, this community allows me to be part of a religious community despite being an atheist with shared goals and values. Before I came to FUSF, I thought of religion as purely spiritual and about theism. But now I realize that it is more about coming together as a community. Being a Unitarian Universalist is about following our values, coming together as a community, and growing together as human beings. Thank you.
And now I invite Vicki Coates and Lily McDonald to come forward.
Good morning. My name is Vicki Coates, and my pronouns are she, her. I've had the honor of mentoring Lily McDonald these past months for coming of age. While I, like you, had seen Lily over the years as she attended RE, then went on to work in the nursery, and then joined the choir, it wasn't until coming of age that I had the opportunity and the immense privilege to know Lily. She is passionate about dance. Music makes her happy, and she's serious about her studies. As we talked, a pattern emerged of quiet leadership combined with keen, empathetic observations of human nature. She cares deeply about our UU values and thinks about how to apply them in her everyday life, notably equity, justice, and love. We're very lucky to have Lily in our congregation, especially as a role model for the younger youth. Thank you, Lily, for your willingness to share your journey with me. Now it's my great pleasure to invite Miss Lily McDonald to the pulpit.
Good morning, FUSF. Thank you for being here this Sunday morning to celebrate my peers and I in our coming of age ceremony. My name is Lily McDonald, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm so glad you all are here. I'd like to begin by stating how incredibly grateful I am to have this community in my life. You all have been the embodiment of welcoming and support since I first walked through these doors in 2011, and I am honored to call you my church family. Your presence here just goes to show how much this community cares for its youth and the love and acceptance at the core of our organization that make me proud to call myself a UU. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. These values form the pillars of our organization and serve as guidelines to meaningful lives in an enriched world. While I believe that each of these values plays a significant role in my life, the value that speaks the most to me at this stage of my life is pluralism. Pluralism, by definition, is a system in which two or more states, groups, or principles coexist. As a young person in today's complex world, pluralism takes on a specific meaning to me. I believe in seeing the deeper side of people. As I have gotten older, I have noticed more and more that people can present themselves in two ways: their immediate actions, motivated by the environment around them, and their long-term character, guided by morals. Our modern world is characterized with violent hate and discrimination in many forms and settings. War, murder, hate crime, and more can be viewed on the news every day. Hate can take shape even closer to home as well. Fistfights and use of discriminatory slurs are far from uncommon at my school. With horrors all around us, sometimes it seems that the only solution is to view people in black and white. In order to be heroes, we must reject villains. But how can we expect to diminish hate if we ourselves are intolerant? It is by this reasoning that I find sympathy for the bullies and oppressors of the world. This may seem counterintuitive, but I find that these issues are much easier to bear with the faith that no one is entirely bad. In a world hungry for retribution, it can be difficult to step back and recognize the layers below the surface of a situation. When faced with conflict, I try to ask myself, how did we get here? Where is this rooting from? Where will it go? As a UU and a firm believer in the worth and dignity of every person, I choose to believe that no one lacks redeeming qualities. I know that I would never want my worst day to become someone's only image of me, so I vow to be generous in forgiving and accepting of mistakes. The gracious community of Unitarian Universalism has nurtured this philosophy in me. By exemplifying what it means to welcome people in all walks of life into a space where second chances are given and progress is celebrated, FUSF has shown me that the best way to teach love is to give love. Thus, I am endlessly determined to recognize the better side of people, even in times when I have to look a little deeper for it. Since before I even knew the word pluralism has taken shape in my dealings with people. I remember being 4 or so years old, watching Peter Pan and crying because Captain Hook was alone in life. It seemed silly, being that Captain Hook is the villain of the story, and what played out was simply poetic justice. However, seeing him cower in fear as a vicious crocodile swam toward him, I was stung by the lack of mercy he was met with. I quickly moved past his villainous behavior and thought to myself that even he did not deserve the miserable fate approaching him. I knew then, and I know now, that Captain Hook was not purely evil. Anger and resentment toward the mischievous Peter Pan motivated him to act the way he did, and underneath, he was still a human being. Since then, I have applied the same empathy for the devil in more serious situations, finding the ability to listen between the lines and rationalize misbehavior. I have encountered many opportunities to apply this mindset in the years since then. For instance, when I started high school, I knew I would be in classes with a girl who had picked on me all throughout elementary school. I was anxious that she would pick up her teasing where it had left off, even though I had no idea what I had done to prompt it. I considered just ignoring her, but ultimately decided to smile at her while passing in the hallway. She smiled back, and has never bothered me since. I will never know why she decided to poke fun at me for those years, but I have faith that she is a good person despite the choices she made in 4th grade. I may not forget how she treated me, but I have long since forgiven her. While it could be argued that this philosophy is too forgiving or condoning of misconduct, I do not feel that it is my responsibility as a UU to shame people for what they have done, but rather to show sympathy and let that pave the way for what they will go on to do. Being a UU means I am willing to come to terms with others, even at their worst self, knowing that combating hate with more hate solves nothing. I intend to value pluralism no matter where I go in the future, and for that I thank Unitarian Universalism. The congregants of FUSF have welcomed me in every stage of my life, in any mood, no matter what is on my mind, no matter what I am struggling with. I genuinely feel that I have found dozens of honorary aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents at FUSF, and I know that if I ever need help, all I have to do is ask, and someone will be there to answer. If I ever need an emergency contact, I know where to look. FUSF is one of few places that I feel safe to cry, because I know that even at my most vulnerable, I will be surrounded by acceptance and support. You all have welcomed and loved all sides of me, whether it is praising me for a choir performance or consoling me when I am stressed and overwhelmed. Thank you, FUSF, for teaching me love so that I may teach others in the same way.
We have been ministered here today, folks. We have been ministered here. You were presented with a gift as a reminder of this special day. May these chalice pendants that you...
Mentors, can you please pass?
Oh. There's one of those mistakes that you'll forgive me for, I'll learn from, and I'll do it again in a few weeks. May these chalice pendants that you've received keep in your mind the meaning of Unitarian Universalism and the values so that they can always be close to your heart. One more time. That's okay. It's a tradition on Mother's Day that there is a walk in Boston that often a team from FUSF attends. I believe that this year there is nobody from FUSF walking. Is that correct? But our plate giveaway today will be going towards the organization that sponsors that walk. And I want to invite Ellen Aducci to please come up and introduce the call for the offering.
Good morning. My name is Ellen Aducci. My pronouns are she, her. And today's offering will support the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, an organization deeply aligned with our Unitarian Universalist values of transformation, social justice, and compassion, working to sustain an environment where all families can live in peace and all people are valued. Louis D. Brown was a 15-year-old sophomore in the fall of 1993 and often mentioned to his family and friends his long-term goal of becoming the first Black president of the United States, and his commitment to making his community a more peaceful and just place. And it was his belief that if true peace is to happen, it would be up to his generation, regardless which side of the street they came from. Louis was caught in a fatal crossfire shootout near his home in Dorchester, Massachusetts, in December of 1993. During that time, there were no resources in Boston for survivors of homicide victims, which left Louis's family leaving the hospital empty-handed and empty-hearted. Louis's murder was high profile. The media speculated about why a teenager was murdered in broad daylight. Was he in a gang? Was it a drug deal gone bad? When it was reported that Louis was in fact an honor student killed on his way to a Teens Against Gang Violence meeting, there was a major shift in public opinion. This shift in opinion led to an outpouring of support. But for Louis's family, this begged the question of what the response to their family would have been if he were in a gang or selling drugs. Would the same resources be poured in? Louis's mother, Clementina Cherry, believed that all families impacted by murder deserve to be treated with dignity and compassion, regardless of the circumstances. In 1994, she founded the Louis D. Brown Institute of Peace to honor his legacy and continue this peacemaking work he led in his community. The mission of the Peace Institute is to serve as a center of healing, teaching, and learning for families and communities impacted by murder, trauma, grief, and loss. Its vision is to create and sustain an environment where all families can live in peace and all people are valued. Today, the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute serves as an integral part
integral partner to the City of Boston and other cities across the country in transforming society's response to homicide. The annual Mother's Day Walk for Peace began in 1996, and it was founded by Clementina Cherry for mothers of murdered children to receive support and love from their neighbors. It is also the primary fundraising event for this important organization. Our congregation has supported the Peace Institute for many years by participating in the Mother's Day Walk for Peace. Please consider giving generously to help them in their vital work. Your contribution today will help cultivate cycles of peace and healing. Please join in turning this vision into action. Thank you. And now we'll take up the offertory here in the sanctuary. And for those attending service on Zoom, there is a link to our virtual offering Tidely. Thank you.
Our final hymn this morning is also in your gray hymnal. It is number 123, Spirit of Life. I invite you to rise as you are able. The blessing and the joy of our faith is that we are never finished. We never reach the end of all that is to be known and understood. We are always asking questions, always growing and learning. And may we always allow others to be wholly themselves and enable one another to grow towards all that each of us are capable of becoming. I invite you now to join in our farewell song. The words are, "Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again." While Sarah extinguishes the chalice, I have these words. We extinguish the flame in our chalice, but not what it represents. The light of reason, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we hold on to and take out into the world. My friends, our worship has ended. Our service to a world that needs healing and needs love and needs our voices of justice continues on. Go with love and go surrounded by peace.